Yeah, y'all know what time it is. Y'all hear that? Am I fresh? Yeah, y'all know I'm fresh. Welcome to VJ Said What I Said here on Infanity TV, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. We got a great show for you guys lined up today, man. I am going to talk about the Super Bowl briefly, but we'll also get into some Hall of Fame snubs for the Pro Football Hall of Fame that I did not like. One NBA coach, I want to know what's your secret, things that you can do other than watch NBA All-Star Weekend, and a legend that gets where he is in today's world of sports. All that is coming up, man. Before I get into the show, make sure you guys go to our social media here, Infanity TV on YouTube channel, excuse me, and hit the subscribe button. You can also find me, VJ Vernon Husky, on Facebook and the Big Vanilla Funny on IG and Twitter. So, as always, we'll start today's show with word of the day. And the word I came up with this week is incomprehensible. That's 7 syllables. I gave y'all the big one. I've been playing my words with friends, and I'm actually whooping a little ass and beating some people. I got about 13 games going on. I don't play anything more than words with friends and chess with friends online. So I got a bunch of games going on. But this word came up the other day, and it made me just think about, as we always do here on VJ Said What I Said, we take the word of the day and we're going to put it to life first, right? So when you think about the word incomprehensible in life, work, dating, parenting. And parenting, I'm learning right now, it's incomprehensible for my kids to try to get daddy to believe something when I know what's going on. Like, there's no explanation for it. I'm not going to comprehend what you're trying to do, what you're trying to say to me right now. I'm smarter than the average bear. I've been around the block. Dads and moms know. Kids always trying to pull the okie doke, whether they're babies, toddlers, teenagers, adolescents, preteens, teenagers, smelling themselves, little puberty going on. They always think they could pull one over on mom and dad. It's incomprehensible to me how kids sometimes try to get their parents to believe certain things that they want them to believe that we already know is not there. It's incomprehensible in the dating world, in the dating life today, that people, namely the fair sex, the ladies, there's this war between men and women right now. You guys see it. You guys know what I'm talking about, all these different platforms. Well, the women don't do this and the women don't do that and the men don't do this and the men don't do that. But what's the most incomprehensible thing to me about that whole discussion is the simple fact that everything just always starts with money. Everything always starts with got to pay my bills, got to take me to steakhouses, $500 restaurants, $600 dinners, $800 dinner. What? That is incomprehensible to me that we just met. We're dating. We're trying to even see if we're going to get hocked up enough one night, afternoon, middle of the morning, or whatever, to make some bad decisions. You know what I'm talking about? That's what we're trying to figure out right now. Well, you want all of this up front? I got to pay bills. I got to pay for your school. I got to pay your rent. I got to do all these different things. Even if you're on the other side with the ladies, it's like the goodies got to come. I got to get the goodies. You ain't done nothing yet. You think a couple of coffee dates is going to get you and to get you to score, get you around third base, coming in to score? That's got to be incomprehensible to some ladies, right, guys? I mean, you got to call it both ways. It's incomprehensible to me that I heard somebody say the other day about relationships. Well, there's no such thing as cheating. I've laughed my ass off. What? No, there's no such thing as cheating. Then they gave some long BS excuse how their own definition of cheating wasn't really what most of us see as cheating. That was just incomprehensible to me, the way people think in today's world. The way we move with work, right? Quick story. I'm a freelancer, okay? And in the freelance business of sports talk radio and sports talk TV, you sign a contract. You're going to do a certain amount of days. You're going to do a certain amount of shows. And then you're going to, move on, or you're going to re-sign and do more days, do more shows. And it's incomprehensible to me that at one point, and I'm doing business with about 3 or 4 different places, networks, companies right now, but it was incomprehensible to me that at one point I had a paycheck that was 2 months late. Now, in the state of California, and federal law states that with independent contractors, payment must be 30 days within date of completion of services served, shows, building your swimming pool, building a deck, whatever the case may be, washing the car, detailing a car, whatever the case may be. You have a 30-day window when you were doing a contract with an independent contractor. It was incomprehensible to me that there was someone who thought that it was okay to wait 2 months, past 60 days, and then give me every reason and every excuse why it wasn't done on time. Now, I didn't get upset because I'm in my therapy now and I'm in my chi. I'm in my zone in life right now. I'm in my zen right now. Like, I didn't get upset. I took it as a message from God. Sometimes you're not always respected. You're not always appreciated by everything that you love, that you respect, and that you appreciate. A lot of times it doesn't come back to you. So you just have to take the good with the good. You take the bad with the bad. And like the old saying goes, you take everything with a grain of salt. You ever held a grain of salt in your hand? You barely can see it. You take it with that. But it was incomprehensible to me that there was someone that thought that that was okay. And it's coming. Well, we tallied it up this date, and it's gonna be sent out this date. And that I couldn't wrap my head around it. That's one of the main reasons why I didn't get so upset about it, because I just couldn't wrap my head around it. When you take that word incomprehensible and you go over to the sports side, lately there's been this discussion, or there's been this attempt to try to tear Michael Jordan down. That's incomprehensible to me, that we're even a guy who holds just about every real meaning moment in the last 30 to 40 years in the NBA. A man that is 6-0 in championships. Like, Jordan is the reason why the NBA probably is still even around, is because of Michael Jordan. I thought Bird and Magic brought relevancy back, but Jordan actually saved the league. It's incomprehensible to me that there are people that will actually have discussions and try to say that somebody is better than Michael Jordan. Now, I agree that you can have your own GOAT. I'm not mad at that. You can have who you think is the best, but when you try to make it fact, when the facts don't support it, and you got to try to find all these hidden numbers and all these little hidden stats. Well, this guy is this and this in the last 2 minutes and 37 seconds of a game. Okay, well, what about 2 minutes and 38 seconds? Does it change then? What about a minute and 57 seconds? Does it change then? Inside 10, inside 15, inside 3 seconds, inside. We can make a number for anything we want to make a number for in sports talk. But sometimes what you say just sounds silly. It just sounds just flat out dumb. But it's incomprehensible to me that we are actually trying to find ways to say Jordan wasn't as great as Jordan is. It's the same thing to me with a guy like Tom Brady. Tom Brady's got 7 Super Bowl rings. Tom Brady's been to 10 Super Bowls. He lost 3 of them, but he's been to 10 of them. And we're already saying Pat Mahomes is better, or Pat Mahomes is right there. I admit he's leaped into the top 10. And trust me, I know, clutch your pearls moment. What, VJ? Top 10, you're crazy. Yeah, for right now, he's in the top 10. His career isn't done. If he never wins again or never gets back to a Super Bowl again but plays 15 years, we'll go, yeah, those first 6 years, 6 years, I think were great. The last 11, he never got back to a Super Bowl. Might have got eliminated a year or two. Maybe Andy Reid retires 2-3 years from now. Doesn't make the playoffs. Maybe he goes through some injuries or gets banged up, or who knows what the future brings. But to try to say that he's better what Brady right now, to me, I'm sorry, it's incomprehensible. I just can't comprehend that discussion. I don't want no part of that. Is Mahomes great? Yes. Is he the greatest quarterback of this generation? I would say he's right there with discount double check. I'm not sure if Brady's this generation, but Brady just did win a Super Bowl 3 years ago. So Brady was still winning in this generation. So that's why I have a problem even putting him up there with Tom Brady. If we want to look at some other guys, man, Tiger Woods, who we'll get into later in the show, right out here at Riviera. It's not far from here. It's right up to 405. Playing in the Genesis tournament, beautiful golf course. It's been pouring rain here for the last 2 weeks, so the golf course is lush. It's beautiful. Watching first round yesterday, the commentators were talking about how they've never seen it like this before. Like, they've never seen it this. The greens are even. They're nice and thick. They're fast. They got the greens fast. Tiger made a comment after doing his post-round interview yesterday. The greens are faster than what he's used to. Do you know, quick, did you know info for you? This is the one tournament Tiger's never won. He's never won the Genesis at Riviera. He's never won at Riviera. And I don't think he'll win this week, too. It's just great to see him out there. But to me, it's incomprehensible for people to think that golf can really survive without this guy. Like, it's yesterday. Think about it, guys. It's February, Saturday morning, and no one cares about golf in February. But Tiger Woods is the host of the event. He's playing the event. And therefore, in February, right after Super Bowl, right before Daytona 500, right before NBA All-Star Weekend, in the thick of college basketball conference play, spring training teams are reporting, spring training is starting to ramp up. If you like baseball, hey, here's your time. This weekend, every ranked team in college baseball is in action. This is your time. This gets going. But people are talking golf. Why? Tiger Woods. And I've heard people say that the tour can survive without him. Yeah, it'll survive because you have sponsorships and the PGA's been around for 80 years, 90 years, however long it's been around. But as far as the ratings go, as far as interest, as far as sincerity of people wanting to really watch golf, you have to have Tiger Woods. Like, he's got to be at the Masters. Even though last year the Masters with Rahm winning was excellent. The last 2 rounds were great. But Tiger being there, it brings the eyes. And then once he doesn't make the cut or once he falls off, you're not going to get off the sofa and go cut the grass. You're going to sit there and enjoy the rest of your Sunday with the spring flowers blossoming that time of year for most parts of the country. All the cold weather's pretty much gone away for most parts of the country. You're going to lay there and have another half of that sandwich from Jersey Mike's and finish watching the Masters. But you started watching and kept up with it since Thursday, plus the par 3 competition, because Tiger Woods says, I'll be there. We'll get more into him too, man, because there was some really cool stuff I saw yesterday. And just the evolution of Tiger Woods, the person and the player, has been pretty remarkable. I put it up there with just about any transformation and just career-wise that I've seen in any athlete. And one last thing, that's 2 things actually, as far as sports right now that I think is incomprehensible, is that the Los Angeles Lakers have put out a report that they're willing to draft or bring in Bronny James for LeBron. You have got to be kidding me. Jeannie, sweetheart, this is for you. Sweetheart, you can't. I'm sorry, you can't. You can't. You cannot give your franchise to players. You just can't. Trust me. You'll be okay. I've lived out here long enough that I've seen the Lakers win championships, and then I've seen the Lakers be very mediocre, and then I've seen the Lakers be bad, and then I've seen the Lakers come back. Like, you'll be back. You're the Lakers. I don't know how much proof people need that the Lakers can go through 5-6 years of not having good teams. Like, the man that runs this whole operation, he's the season ticket holder. He ain't stopped going. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you go, you know it's going to come back. And when Magic, you draft it, you bring Jabbar in, right? Then Magic has to retire. Jabbar retires. All you got left is Byron Scott and James Worthy. If you remember in 93, don't quote, 93. In 93, they actually go up 2-0 on the Phoenix Suns, who were the number 1 seed. They were the 8th seed that year. They go up 2-0. They go into Phoenix. They win both games. This is the Charles Barkley MVP Phoenix Suns that went on to the NBA Finals. They actually go into Phoenix, win game 1, win game 2. I remember Worthy catching a rebound off the last second missed shot and watching the clock just tick like the last second off, holding both hands in the air with the ball, and then spiking the ball underneath the hoop. And they walked off, and people thought, holy smokes, Barkley and the Suns are going to get swept in the first round of a best-of-5 to the capless, magicless, I think Riley was gone at that point. Riley-less Lakers? Yeah, Riley was in New York. They're going to get swept to them? That didn't happen. Barkley's like, okay, Thunder Dan, Kevin Johnson, even Oliver Miller's old fat ass, everybody. Look, let's get together. Eddie Johnson. Frankie Johnson. Excuse me, not Eddie Johnson. Frankie Johnson. Let's get together. Richard Dumas was a really good 2-guard back in the day. Let's get it together. We're the lead dogs. We have home court advantage throughout the entire playoffs. Let's get it back together and let's go finish the series off. But that was the Lakers. And then they had Eddie Jones and Vlade Divac and Nick Van Axel and Sadell 3 and these, like, real talk. But you get Kobe, you get Shaq, you get Phil, you build it, you come back, you're dominant. Shaq gets traded, you have Kobe, it goes down. You bring in Powell, they go back to 3 finals, they win 2 more championships. Kobe's getting older. They get swept by the Mavs the year the Mavs go win their championship. They get swept by the Mavs in the first round that year. They had to struggle to get to the playoffs. They're older. They go down. They make some bad office moves. They make some bad ownership moves. You think about some of the ownership people that were there when the busboy was there? Wasn't happening. But then you get LeBron, you get AD. It bounces back. Genie, sweetheart, it's incomprehensible to me that you were actually thinking of making this move. Talk to your pops. That's not trying to be disrespectful. I'm being real. Like, summons the old Laker lore. Players go. You rebuild. You'll be just fine. All that is all said and done, man. Word of the day, incomprehensible. We will stick with that theme today, though. Take a quick break. When we come back, though, man, I want to get into some Super Bowl stuff. And I'm still pissed off about the Hall of Fame pro football voting. We'll get into that more. VJ said what I said on Infanity TV. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, I'm Neko Gumike with the LA Sparks, and you are watching Infanity Television.
Profanity Nation. A podcast for the fans, by the fans. Dive deep into the topics the other shows miss. Raw and uncensored.
And he's going to play team ball. His legacy is at stake.
Rare, hard-hitting interviews with players, coaches, and you, the super fans.
I'm not hating. I'm like, okay, cool. Good.
3 championships in 5 years. He's more than good, bro.
Profanity Nation. Listen live or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Chanel Gwimike, and you're watching Infanity Television. Boom.
Shout out Infanity Television. This is Juju Watkins. See y'all.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? VJ Vernon Husky, the Big Vanilla Funny, the Big Vanilla Poppy. In the building of Infanity TV, man, here with VJ Said What I Said. All right, guys, let's get into today's show, man. Great stuff lined up. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. Also, as always, go to the Infanity TV YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. I see them numbers growing, man. We're about to crack over another 1,000 mark. Not 1,000, but another 1,000. You know, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. About to crack over another 1,000 mark, too. Also, follow me on my social media. Hit me on Twitter, Big Vanilla Funny. Big Vanilla Funny on IG, and VJ Vernon on Facebook. All right. So last weekend, we had the Super Bowl. And the Chiefs prevailed 25-22 in overtime. Great drive by Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is now certified. Andy Reid is now certified. Not sure where they rank. I don't want to do that yet. But Pat Mahomes is clearly a top 10 quarterback of all time. Andy Reid is clearly a top 5 coach, in my opinion, of all time. He's the leader in the clubhouse of active coaches right now because Bill Belichick does not have a job. And kudos to the people not hiring a grumpy old 70-something-year-old man who's just going to say, well, we did it this way in New England. We're going to continue doing this way. Yeah, all right, bro. That just don't play today. Times change, people. I get it. We don't like change. We want things to stay the same. same. That's why McDonald's is still in business today. Even though their food is not nearly what it was when we were growing up eating it, it's way different today. Food is made for mass consumption as a mass society right now. It's not really made for health and all of those things. But at the end of the day, it's still the same. That's why people still go there. The Big Mac is the same today as it was 35, 40 years ago. We don't like change. We're afraid of new apps. That's why it's hard to get a social media app going. I know about 4 or 5 people they want to create their own app. It's hard. People don't want change. People don't want to come away from Facebook and IG and X or Twitter, whatever you call it right now. I know Threads is something that's out right now. I got a TikTok that my niece Scootball made me create. I haven't been on that thing in a month. It's too much, man. You got to do too much on TikTok. I got to type too much. I don't like typing. That's why I write. You see the pencil, see my notes? That's why I write, man. And y'all, somebody come out with social media where we can write on it and then take your notes and put it on there, so like that. Man, I'm gonna be the man. I'm gonna be what's the word? What, viral? Yeah, viral. I don't really care about that stuff. But anyway, the Kansas City Chiefs are now 3-time Super Bowl champions in the last 5 years. They have 4 overall. Great team win. Spags did his thing dialing up great blitzes and great blitz combos when it came to trying to put pressure on Brock Purdy. I don't have any beat up on Brock Purdy. I thought Brock Purdy played well enough for his team to win, and the offensive line and coaching staff let him down. Kyle Shanahan, I'm not a fire him guy, but I did ask Tyler Dragon last week on VJ and Martin and VJ on Fox Sports Radio. I asked Tyler Dragon from USA Today if he lost this game, would this put him on a hot seat? And he balked at it, and Twitter balked at it. And I came back from break the next segment, and I just explained myself. I said, well, the NFL is a very high turnover when it comes to head coaches. The Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl, and within 4 years, they fired Doug Peterson and cleaned house. I thought the Super Bowl used to buy you 5-7 years, sometimes 7 to 10 years. You think they want to fire John Harbaugh in Baltimore? Oh, he's got a Super Bowl ring. Yeah, at one point, McCarthy was out in Green Bay. He's got 1 Super Bowl. Mike Tomlin's got 1 Super Bowl ring, and that was a long time. Mike Tomlin's Super Bowl was longer than both those guys' Super Bowl. Mike Tomlin got beat by McCarthy with the Packers. So, but it buys you time, right? It should buy you time. I think Sean McVay should be good here in LA for the next 4 or 5 years, unless he wants to walk out. He won you a Super Bowl. That should buy you some time as a head coach. But Shanahan, his story feels a little different. 8-4 in the postseason. I believe 61-55 overall as a head coach, 7 seasons in the regular season with the San Francisco 49ers, which is a 55% winning percentage. He had seasons of 6-10. They had a 4-12 year. I think they had a 10-7 year also too, and then 13-3, 12-5. The last 2 years have been 13-3, 12-5. Or 13-4, excuse me, and then 12-5. They've been playing 17 games the last 2 years. But he has some years in there that have been, and once again, the number I look at, the most 55% winning percentage, that's not great. So I question, is he Mike McCarthy? Is he Norv Turner? Is he Marty Schottenheimer? Great coaches. Great football coaches. But at the end of the day, you got to win. And I try not to be victim of the moment, because every year, every team that loses, fire the coach, get rid of the quarterback. Oh, fire McCarthy, get rid of Dak. Fire Mike McDaniel, get rid of Tua. Like, okay, I saw people just put out the stupidest stuff. I saw a report this morning where a talking head on TV, I forget the guy's name. I think he's over on the Rich Eisen show. Said that the Dolphins should draft Michael Penix Jr. Don't pay to a draft. Yeah, bring in another rookie that has the learn Mike McDaniel system that got taken apart by an NFL-style defense in the national championship game. Sure, against Texas and against the Pac-12 where nobody plays good defense, you can throw the ball around, average 41, 42 points a game. But when you got on the field with NFL-caliber players in college that are going to have at least 8 of those guys drafted into the NFL, you got held to 10, 13 points, homeboy. So for somebody to think that he could come in and he can replace Tua, that's just craziness. But I guarantee if they won a playoff game and got to the AFC Championship game, nobody would be saying that. No one's saying it about Burrow. Burrow can't stay on the field. He's been hurt twice for either half the season or more than half the season, 2 of the last 4 years. So the NFL has this short leash, and that's why I asked about Shanahan. Then revisionist history, I see a couple of colleagues of mine and people that I know in the business come out and they need to fire Shanahan. I asked it Saturday before the game. I just thought that with his track record, is he a guy you can win with? And then once again, he's blown 2 10-point leads as a head coach in the second half of Super Bowls and a 28-3 lead as a play caller as the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons against the Patriots. So, I mean, the history is when you go to the doctors, they ask you for your medical history. When you go to court, they're going to look at what your driving history is when you get a speed. Is it your first ticket or is it your 7th ticket? If you're going in because you committed something on a criminal level, they're going to look at your history. So the big takeaway from the Super Bowl to me, congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs, but the bigger takeaway with me was Kyle Shanahan. Now, the better part of this topic for this segment I want to talk about is the Pro Football Hall of Fame snub by Antonio Gates. This really, really pissed me off. And I'm going to tell you why. I've done so much research on Hall of Fames. I've covered Hall of Fames. I've interviewed Hall of Fame players. I'm talking whether it was Troy Polamalu, Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, not Tony Dorsett, Drew Pearson, legendary receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. I've interviewed some big name Hall of Famers in my time. The Hall of Fame enshrinement weekend when I was doing a little bit of covert covering in the NFL. So I have a real interest in the way this is done and the guys that get in. And Antonio Gates being snubbed as a first ballot Hall of Famer really got underneath my skin because I think the message for some of these players and the message for the voting system is a little misconstrued and a little different for different players, and I don't like that. And we'll get to Devin Hester in a second because I thought that was more of a, oh, wow, been on the ballot for 3 years, such a highlight guy. You see his name, you watch some highlights, you go, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, but Brian Mitchell isn't. We'll get to that in a second. I want to stick with the tight ends and Antonio Gates here. So you talk about Antonio Gates, 955 catches in his career, 12,000 yards, both third all time for tight ends. You talk about his 116 touchdowns, which is first, which is first all time, and 12.4 yards per. 8-time Pro Bowl, 3-time All-Pro. Now, the only knock I think you can find, but when you go through and you look at the rest of the Hall of Fame tight ends, he'll get in, but this is about more first ballot, is that he only had 2 1,000-yard seasons. But Philip would spread the ball around, and when he was younger, he was playing with Drew Brees. So think about that. That's how long ago he's been balling and dominating in the NFL at the tight end position. Drew Brees is more known for what? The Saints. He was catching passes, Antonio Gates was, from Drew Brees in San Diego before they drafted Phillip Rivers. So I'd like, once again, I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, how is he not first ballot Hall of Famer? Well, the criminal part of all of this is there's only been one first ballot Hall of Famer. And I'm going to get real pissed if some guy is coming behind Gates, gets in before Gates, or gets in first ballot. Because, see, here's the thing. I don't think that you can let like 2 tight ends in 1 year, right? I mean, if you look at, I have a name list here with some guys that have some eligibility coming up. 2 guys coming up in 2027, okay? It's Gronk and Graham. If you guys remember Jimmy Graham and Gronk. They're up for 27. Now, if Gronk gets in first ballot, I'm going to be pissed. I understand you got the rings, but you're not the quarterback. Like the Hall of Fame when it comes to rings should just be for quarterbacks. You can't go, well, that defensive end doesn't have a Super Bowl. Oh, yeah, because he throws and catches and blocks and runs routes. No. Like, he did his job, though. If he's on the ballot, like, he did his damn job. So if you look at the Hall of Fame tight ends that are in, Gonzalez, Shannon, Dave Casper, Winslow, Mackey, old school, Charlie Sanders, old school, Ozzie, old school, a lot of y'all young buckaroos, little young mushmouths, y'all don't know none of these, what I'm talking about, Ditka and Jackie Smith. Those are the Hall of Fame tight ends. I'm trying to figure out how Frank Wycheck, who's been eligible since 09's not in, Jeremy Shockey, who's been eligible since 17's not in, Gronk and Graham also coming up. I'm just trying to figure out how he got snubbed. And really quickly, if I can move on here to Devin Hester. When you look at Devin Hester, I get the touchdown returns. I get all the excitement, the high step in the hand behind his head like Deion Sanders. I get all of that. 37 total touchdowns. But his return yards is 11,000. Brian Mitchell is first and top 5 in kick returns and punt returns for touchdowns in his career. And he's number 1 in return yards at almost 20,000. That's 9,000 more return yards. Also, Mel Gray, 4th all-time with 13,000 return yards. Also, a top 7 guy in kick returns and punt returns all-time for touchdowns. I'm not saying Devin Hester's not a Hall of Famer, but how did Hester get in before Brian Mitchell, and you don't let a guy like Gates in, who's top 3 in catches, yards, and touchdowns, and for some reason he's not first ballot? Just something that just struck me, man, and really, really ticked me off. Y'all need to fix that real fast, because I love the Hall of Fame. I love the voting process, but I did not like how that broke down. All right, man, sit tight. We got a lot more coming up for you guys here on VJ Said What I Said. I'm VJ Vernon Husky, the big vanilla funny Infanity TV.
Hey everyone, I'm Neko Gumike with the LA Sparks, and you are watching Infanity Television.
Profanity Nation. A podcast for the fans, by the fans. Dive deep into the topics the other shows miss. Raw and uncensored.
And he's going to play team ball. His legacy is at stake.
Rare, hard-hitting interviews with players, coaches, and you, the super fans.
I'm not hating. I'm like, okay, cool. Good.
3 championships in 5 years. He's more than good, bro.
Profanity Nation. Listen live or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Chanel Gwimike, and you're watching Infanity Television. Boom.
Shout out Infanity Television. This is Juju Watkins. See y'all.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome back to VJ Said What I Said here on Infanity TV. Appreciate you guys all tuning in. All right, so let's get into some NBA stuff. I want to talk about Doc Rivers and the Milwaukee Bucks, because 2 nights ago, they lost to the Memphis Grizzlies. They'll get a chance to get back out on the court tonight and try to right that wrong, but they lost 2 nights ago to the Memphis Grizzlies, and Doc is now 3-7 since he has taken over the head coaching position for the Milwaukee Bucks. And first of all, I just want to know, what secrets do you know, Doc? Like, what do you know about the NBA? What do you know about a powerful politician or one of the owners? Like, what do you know that you continue to still get jobs? And I'm all for brother getting his money. You've made plenty of it. You don't seem like a guy that's spending it on Lamborghinis and $200,000 chains and $1 million watches. You don't strike me as that guy. So I know your bread is stacked. I know it's saved. But how in the hell does Doc Rivers continue to get opportunity after opportunity after opportunity when, if you look at his career, and I've said this about guys like Mike McCarthy, Kyle Shanahan, and Norv Turner and Marty Schottenheimer. There are just some people who are good X and O's guys. There are some people who are good people who are just good human beings. Doc Rivers is a good human being. Like, he's a good guy. When I was going down to Carolina to support my nephew playing for the Tar Heels and going to the Duke games, I've been in Cameron. I've stood in line to get into Cameron Indoor Stadium. I've talked to Doc Rivers. His son Austin, his daughter, like, he's really a good guy. They say, teammates have said, when he asks about your family and he asks about your kid's recital in the soccer game, Doc Rivers really cares. He's not making small talk. So I get that part. I'm all for a man getting his bag. But how does he keep getting opportunities when everything, whether you like this word I'm about to use or not, but it's the facts, it's true, everything's been a failure. Like, there's not been a lot of positivity. 07, 08, he won the championship with the Boston Celtics. We all know how that came about. Jesus Shuttlesworth got in a 3-team deal with the Seattle Supersonics. Kevin Garnett was at Minnesota. Kevin McHale was in the front office. Danny Ainge was running things in Boston. Kevin McHale played with Danny Ainge. The Supersonics wanted to get off of Ray Allen and get him out of there and start the rebuild, which they ended up with the number 1 pick. They getting Kevin Durant. Right? Or number 2, right? Did Kevin go 2? Oh, anyway. I always get that mixed up with him and Greg Oden. So who went 1? I know Portland and the Supersonics had the 2 picks. But they got a chance to reset. They sent Jesus Shuttlesworth to Beantown, Kevin Garnett to Beantown. You already had Rondo there and P2. You already had Rondo and Pierce. So you were set. But if you go back and look at those years before that trade happened, it was going the other way. Like, it was crashing, burning real fast. 45 wins, 33 wins, 24 wins. That's the route they were going with Doc Rivers as their head coach. They get him as a head coach. You go 66 and 62 wins the following 2 years. 1 year, you go all the way, and you win the championship. Ain't sniffed the conference finals since. Even when he was back in Orlando, his highest win total there was 44, and he had Tracy McGrady, and people want Tracy McGrady to be a top 75 guy. With a top 75 guy, you got to give me 151 season, right? Guys like Scottie Pippen got a 51 season without Michael Jordan. And the facts are the facts, and I'm not saying that to despair Michael Jordan. I'm actually saying it to build Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen by himself with Tony Kukoc and those guys got 50 wins. Phil Jackson, of course, Tex Winners, everything. They kept it together. They had to play without Mike, but they kept it together enough to get to the second round, I believe it was that year. Or the conference finals. Was it the conference finals against the Knickerbockers where Scottie Pippen didn't want to go back in because the last play wasn't called for him? Kukoc hits the up and under pump fake mid-range jumpy to really make that a series until the Knicks overcame them in the long run. They were threatening to go down. That's the Scottie Pippen dunk over Patrick Ewing and push him down series. That's Scottie Pippen got 50 wins. You trying to tell me Doc Rivers with Tracy McGrady, you couldn't get 50 wins in 1 year? There's not a guy that's lost more 3-1 leads. There's not a guy that's lost more 2-0 leads as a head coach than Doc Rivers. This thing in Minnesota is falling fast, and they have nobody to blame but themselves. Doc didn't want to do TV. Doc just don't want to sit home. I've been in this business long enough. Trust me, guys, when I tell you this. Athletes and coaches, this is what they do. They struggle when they don't do this anymore. Majority of them struggle when they don't do what they've done for so long anymore, especially players. But coaches, that's why they go talk on TV and they go sit and call games. They just love the game. They want to be around the game. But Doc didn't want to do TV. Doc wanted to coach. The man loves coaching. He's just not very good at it. I understand. I know people who love to cook. But like, lasagna not supposed to be that watery. Meatloaf's not supposed to be that hard. There's no such thing as Cajun when you sauteing. That's burnt. That's not Cajun style. I know Cajun style. I've been to New Orleans. I've had authentic Cajun food. That ain't Cajun style, homie. That's burnt. Just because you like doing something doesn't mean that you should be doing it and doesn't mean that you're good at it. This Milwaukee thing is falling fast. The offensive rating is dropping. And then Doc Rivers comes out and says that half our guys' mind were in Cabo because you know you got All-Star Weekend coming up. Guys that don't make the All-Star game, don't plan on going, they normally use this as an in-season vacation for themselves, their little honey dip on the side, or their wife, or their family and kids. A lot of players, everybody doesn't go. A lot of players say, man, I'm good. I'm going to go spend some time with my family. Or the wives go, hey, hello, remember us? Been in training camp since late August, early September. Remember us? It's February. Haven't seen you a lot, even through Thanksgiving, even through Christmas, even through New Year's. Oh, yeah, you're not going to All-Star Weekend. You're not in any events. You're not doing anything. You taking me and the kids to the Bahamas. And that's just what the hell you do if you want a happy home. Doc knows that. But I think that could play really bad in the locker room. And I just think this thing is off to a bad start. They have a tough stretch of their schedule coming up. They're 8.5 out of first place, so they're not catching Boston. Let's look at the standings, all right? The Cavaliers, who have been playing great as of late, 9-1 in their last 10, they've moved up to the 2 seed now, okay? You got the Knickerbockers that are 10 out of first place, but they're only a game and a half behind the Bucks. And the Knicks have been on a little slide, losing 4 in a row and losing 5, going 5-5, going 500 basically in their last 10 games. So if you look right behind them, then you have the Pacers. So that's how actually 3 through 6 breaks down. Philly's sitting in there 10.5 out right now. That'd be 2 full games behind the Bucks, but they don't have Joel Embiid. This thing, I'm telling you guys right now, this thing's going to spiral out of control. I'm not even going to use the if no more. I'm going to go out. I'm going to make a big vanilla prediction right now. We're going to go big vanilla style, early prediction, Mr. Big Vanilla Stradamus. This thing with the Bucks, it's going to spin out of control. This thing's over. It's over. These guys are not locked in. Giannis, listen, man, I like you, dude. I really do. But you might have won your championship a little too easy, a little too early. Little too easy, a little too early. Let's go back and revisit that season. There are a lot of guys injured. There are a lot of guys knocked out. If Kyrie doesn't step on your foot, they're already up 2-0, and they're blasting you in Game 3. Kyrie steps on your foot, season, series, everything over, changes. Kevin Durant, if he was half a shoe size smaller, you guys wouldn't have got past them. And then you ended up playing Trae Young and the Hawks, who Nate McMillan had on a roll in the Eastern Conference Finals. How'd that turn out? How'd that turn out down there with Atlanta? So you see what the team is now. Just 2 years ago, you played in the conference finals. So when you kind of wrap all that together and you look at this team and you look at this roster and the fact that they brought Doc Rivers in, I'm telling you guys right now, I would say they're going to fall. I will predict they're falling to 6 or worse in the Eastern Conference. Mark that down. Saturday, February 17th, Infanity TV, VJ said what I said, the Big Vanilla Stradamus. I'm telling y'all right now, the Bucks are going to fall to 6 seed or worse in the Eastern Conference. This is going to be an epic collapse. This is going to look like, oh, I got a good one. This will look like what the Eagles look like the second half of this season. The second half of this season, the Eagles looked like it was incomprehensible what I was seeing. There's that word. I couldn't understand what I was seeing. And you'd think it, okay, they'll come out of it. They'll get out of it. They'll be fine. And they just never were. I think this is going to happen with the Milwaukee Bucks. The Heat are sitting in the 7th seed at 30-25, but I don't trust them. But I've said for the last 3-4 years, Jimmy Butler is a really nice player. He's a good player. But if you're telling moi, that's French, if you're telling moi that Jimmy Butler is going to win you an NBA championship, no, he's not. He hasn't done it yet. He'll get to the finals. But if you're hitching your wagon to Jimmy Butler to win you a championship, this is not new, guys. I've been saying this for a good 4 or 5 years. He's not going to win you a championship. He may be a B or a B- or a B+ player, but you got to get an A over him. Like, once again, I'll use the superhero reference. He's not Batman. He's not Superman. Hey, Aquaman is still dope, though, right? The Flash movie was good. That was a good movie. Even on the villain side, like he's not Magneto. He's not the Joker. He's like Sabretooth. You know what I'm saying? Like Sabretooth, he did some stuff. He killed some people, ruffled some feathers. Like that's who he is. So I'm not sure where they're going to go. The Pacers, I just think it's a nice novelty. Tyrese Halliburton having this crazy scoring season. Real good young player. But I am predicting that since they hired Doc Rivers, the Bucks are going to crash. And then that is going to lead into a summer of what's Giannis going to do? Where's Giannis going to go? Who are the Bucks going to get to bring? And the guy I think that's going to escape all the criticism, and I don't know if I should say rightfully so, but it just kind of is what it is. Dame Lillard. Dame Lillard will escape a lot of criticism because you can point right to the head coach and one, Doc Rivers, as to why I am predicting the Big Vanilla Stradamus, the Milwaukee Bucks, sitting at third right now, Saturday, February 17th. They're going to fall to the 6th seed of West. Mark it down. Remember where you heard it first. All right, that's our NBA for today, man. Y'all sit tight. And when we come back, I want to talk about a guy that has great self-awareness, understand who he was and who he is and what he can be in the world of sports. All that and more coming up on VJ's Said What I Said.
Hey everyone, I'm Neko Gumike with the LA Sparks, and you are watching Infanity Television.
Profanity Nation. A podcast for the fans, by the fans. Dive deep into the topics the other shows miss. Raw and uncensored.
And he's going to play team ball. His legacy is at stake.
Rare, hard-hitting interviews with players, coaches, and you, the super fans.
I'm not hating. I'm like, okay, cool. Good.
3 championships in 5 years. He's more than good, bro.
Profanity Nation. Listen live or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Chanel Gwimike, and you're watching Infanity Television. Boom.
Shout out Infanity Television. This is Juju Watkins. See y'all.
What's good, everybody, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to VJ Say What I Say here on Infanity TV. Once again, don't forget, go to the YouTube channel Infanity TV. Hit the subscribe button. Follow me, social media, Twitter, Facebook, and IG, Big Vanilla Funny VJ Vernon. Just type it all in. Something's gonna come up. You see my face like this, looking fresh, and you'll know that's me. All right, so I do want to bounce back just real fast before I get into Tiger Woods. Hall of Famers, I found this very interesting. First ballot Hall of Famers, there's been 89 of them, all right? 16 quarterbacks, 15 running backs, 7 receivers, 12 offensive linemen, which was the surprising number to me. Only 1 first ballot tight end. I have a problem with that. 12 D linemen, 8 linebackers, and 12 defensive backs. That was also another surprise to me. The first class was 1963, and they started doing 15 finalists in 1970, 371 total in Canton, with gold jackets and bronze beautiful statues. All right. The word of the day was incomprehensible, and I talked about Tiger Woods and how it was incomprehensible to me that anybody thinks that golf can survive without this guy. I always feel like as a grown man, you are allowed 2 sports crushes, but you can't be ridiculous about it. And you can't make it look like you want to get a room with the guy. And you can't do it that way. But guys that you really respect, you really like, you get excited no matter what's going on. You make sure you DVR that game or that match. You want to watch, you want to cheer. You might go buy their shoes or go buy their line or their gear, or you might start doing something because they do it. I get it. I really do. Tiger was that for a lot of people. Tiger was that for me. Tiger was that for a lot of people who didn't give a rip about golf. I've been playing golf since I was 13. Okay, first pair of clubs I picked up, not putt-putt. First time I went out on the range, North Carolina, one of my grandfather friends, Mr. Benny, took me to a shed. I had to break the lock because he lost the key so we could get his clubs up. Took me to one of them old, green, beautiful, lush, country-ass golf courses in North Carolina, and I fell in love from that moment. Now, Tiger doesn't come along in my life until 96, 97. I'm in the Army as a private, Fort Sill, Oklahoma, Air Defense Artillery. And he won the Masters that spring. We were about to graduate a few weeks after that. So we had a little time on the town. Once you're in basic training, you get more time on the town as time goes on. I remember all of us going over to the PX on Sunday in the electronics section to watch the final round, stand there for an hour and watch the back half of the final round of Tiger Woods winning his first Masters. And I've been hooked ever since. And fast forward to this year where he's at the Revere. He's at Revere. He's at the Genesis Invitational Tournament. He is the host there this weekend. It's not far from me. It's right here in Southern California, right up the 405, not far up the 405, nestled into the valley up against the mountains. It's a beautiful golf course. I hope to play it one day. And then the news came out a few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, that Tiger's ended his relationship with Nike and starting his own Tiger line, which he brilliantly showed up in yesterday. He had the all cream on, the cream slacks, the cream sweater, the tiger emblem. It's like, God, I go online. I'm like, okay, I need that cream sweater. So when golf starts this year, when I step out on the course, I got my Tiger gear on. I'm that guy. I got a bro sports crush on Tiger Woods. He made me actually pick up golf more. I had been playing, but not as serious as I once was and want to get back into it. But the reason why I brought him up is because he's on the trajectory of the old guy now. Like, there's him, there's LeBron, there's Rafael Nadal, was Jimmy Johnson in NASCAR. He recently retired. They're the old guys in sports that are dominant, that are legends, that are icons, that are like lifelong guys, multi-championship, winner. Serena, who doesn't play as much anymore. Venus just got an exemption to play in a tournament. I think she's trying to gear up for the French possibly, but definitely Wimbledon. But that's not until June, going into June and July. So she's got time for that. But when you think about Tiger knows he's the old guy. Tiger knows his back still spasms. Yesterday on the 18, he had a shot wicket to the right in the trees, but was able to get to the green within about 8 feet, cuts through the trees. But when he was asked about the shot that shanked it to the trees, he immediately said, yeah, my back just spasmed out on me. Like, it's been spasming all day. Like, he'll never be the Tiger Woods that has 82 career wins. He's won 12 international times, okay? 12 times. It's not PGA, international tournaments, gone over there, collected a couple of $1 million. Out of 373 cuts in his career, Tiger Woods made 338 of them. He has 31 runner-ups. He has 160, he has his top fives, top 10s, 119. He's finished top 5 163 times. In the top 5, 163 times. And 19 times he finished third. So in top 3, 132 times. He's basically Michael Jordan, Pelé, Muhammad Ali, athlete-wise. He's those guys. Michael Phelps. He's in that with Serena. That's the group he's in. What I like the fact about it is that him being the old guy is, unlike a guy like LeBron, he knows he's the old guy. He relishes that he's the old guy. He knows his days of winning multiple tournaments are done. But he can still have such a positive impact on the game of golf with his new line, his son Charlie coming right along behind him, who walks, talks, looks the green, swings, does everything just like his daddy. It's beautiful to see. If you've not seen Charlie, go YouTube videos of Charlie Woods, guys. I can't wait for that kid to turn pro, because he's going to be just as dominant as his dad. It's going to be a beautiful thing to watch. But he knows what he can do for the game. He knows what he is now, and he understands it. He's not trying to steal the spotlight from anybody, any young golfer. That's why you show up at the event that you host. You're going to play the Masters. He has an exemption in the Masters to 2029. So he's going to be able to play in the Masters. He's 48 years old now. Okay, he turned pro in 96. It's been a long haul, but he knows what he is right now, and that's what I love even more about him and respect old guys in sports. They know who they are. I'm still going to play the Masters. He might try to show up for the U.S. Open, but we know the U.S. Open to be one of the hardest courses all year you play. It's draining on the mind, the body. Tiger just might not be there anymore, but he's still a draw. Young kids can still look up to him. He called his playing partner he was playing with yesterday, the little brother he never had, Rory McIlroy. They had a little cut interview with him talking about the first time he played with Tiger. He said, I don't think I ever said good shot that much to anybody else ever playing around the golf. That wasn't kiss ass. That wasn't sucking up. He's literally in his young years watching the prime guy, the greatest golfer in my mind. I know there was Jack. I understand there was Jack, but prime versus prime, you put those two guys together, man, I don't think Jack's got the majors, but Tiger's got the overall wins. So Tiger won more than Jack did. Also, too, something else that I found here that I love, this is very interesting. In 99 and 2000, Tiger won 17 tournaments. 17 tournaments. He won 9 one year, or 8 one year, and then 9 the next year. 17 tournaments, guys. Let that sink in. There are golfers on the tour right now that have been on tour for, let's say, 10 years that don't have 17 career wins. He did that in a 2-year span. And then in 05, 06, won 14 tourneys. Now, it's been 10 years, excuse me, since he's had multiple wins, and he won the Masters. He won 3 Masters in 4 years when he was younger, won his last one in 2019, right before the COVID year. But when I hear these golfers and these younger guys that are coming through talking about Tiger, they tell you Tiger was my idol. Like, I love Tiger Woods. Everything was about Tiger Woods. I don't know. I forget. Maybe it was Justin. I forget the kid's last name, but said that I don't know if I would have been playing golf if it wasn't for Tiger. That's when you know you've made a stamp on the game that you play. So there are people that say, I don't even know if I'd be playing ball if it wasn't for Jordan. I don't know if I knew how to pass like this if it wasn't for Magic. Like, I wanted to play quarterback because of Tom Brady. When people say they want to do things because of you, that puts you apart and aside from everybody else. And it's incomprehensible to me that anybody would think that golf would be fine without this man. That's just not the truth. He drives the ratings. I watched late last night. Raynell walked by the kitchen. I'm prepping for the show. I got both my iPads up. I got Juju and Tay-Tay running around me. I got, I think I had a basketball game or maybe Martin or Fresh Prince of Bel-Air on the TV. But on my iPad, she walks by. She looks, she goes, what are you watching? I said, Genesis Tournament of Rivera. And she automatically knew, oh, yeah, Tiger's playing. Yeah. So when Tiger's playing, I already know he's watching. If he's watching, then Tiger's playing. Like I said, I just love what he's done for the game. I think he knows where he is right now. I love what he's bringing to the game of golf. His own line now, next, you know what he's going to start doing? He's going to start having guys endorse his line. He's going to have these other golfers out here wearing his line. I think that is awesome. Before we wrap up today, as always, man, anyway, one love to Tiger Woods. I love the guy. He's one of my sports crutches. So before we wrap up, as always, I wanted to get into my Kobe moment. We always have a Kobe moment here at the end of the show. That's how we're going to end every show. From this point on, we are always going to end with a Kobe moment. I don't even need my notes for this one because I remember when it was. I thought about it the other day. So In 2004, being a big Pistons fan I am, the Pistons finally break through after going to 5 straight Eastern Conference championships and get into the finals. But they're getting to the finals against the mighty Lakers, Kobe, Shaq, Phil. This is coming off the year that the Spurs beat the Lakers in 6 and beat them by 20 in Staples Center. That's the famous Gray and Kobe interview right there on the court where he's asking Kobe, what do you do? Well, we start training right now. It hurts. It sucks. Hate to lose, but the mission starts right now going into next year. That's the following year. So game 1, they go out, they get the win. The Washington Post says Pistons not starstruck in LA. They win game 1. Game 2, they're winning that game, and then who decides to say, we're not getting swept, I gotta do me, but Kobe Bryant. I remember I was over at my brother's apartment. I was watching the game with him, our boy Dirk, Worse, and our homeboy Bertles and D. And it was all of us in his room watching the game over his apartment. And I remember them knowing I was such a big Kobe fan, but he was telling them, he's like, listen, he's going for his Pistons. Anyway, they come down to the end of the fourth quarter. Who hits the long 30-foot three-pointer over Rip Hamilton? Kobe Bryant looks back at the Pistons bench, pounds his chest. They go into overtime and win that game because Kobe scores 10 of their 12 points. And I remember standing up and picking up my wallet, picking up my keys, and everybody in the room kind of looking at me. And I looked around at everybody, and I just went, it's Kobe. But we're still going to win this series. And we did. We ended up beating them in 5. But they looked at me like I was going to be disappointed. Inside, it was kind of like, Kobe. I mean, it just was what he does. And that's a moment, man, that I'll never forget. Shared it with my brother and some friends. But it's the year the Pistons kind of broke that whole thing out. Sent Shaq on his way before Kobe could come back. So that's my Kobe moment of the day. And that's also another beautiful, completed episode of VJ's Say What I Said. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Remember, every Saturday morning, 9 a.m., West Coast, noon, East Coast. Come check me out, man. Doing big things over there. VJ Say What I Said and Infanity TV. Hug and kiss your loved ones. Enjoy the weekend. Don't watch NBA All-Star Weekend, man. It's college basketball, La Liga, soccer, a bunch of stuff on, man. College baseball, spring training reported. Good stuff, man. I'm out. Peace.